this is the great challenge. We noted, of course, the decisions in the high-level meeting in Addis Ababa among African Union states. On the other hand, there are regulations in the Rome Statute that point in another direction. I would hope that innovative ideas are being discussed, whether one can find other methods of making sure that the procedure process can have its course.
My final question in this, the three Kenyans who are currently facing the cases at ICC, two of them, obviously, the president, the deputy president, and there's a journalist, right? So what happens to all these cases? Will the entire case, in your mind or in your opinion, deferred and end, or the president, the deputy case, is deferred and the journalist, continue with this case?
Well, you're now crossing that line where I can only speculate, and I don't think I should speculate on these issues. It's very much in the hands of, on the one hand, the Security Council and the court. And of course, lawyers that are considering different options, whether postponement of process could take place. But this is, again, not under my control in any way. But we hope that all efforts will be made to maintain both the credibility and standing of international justice system, and at the same time make it possible for the leadership of your country to lead in this very important and difficult time.
Let's go back to a clarification. The government has intimated in the last few weeks or days that it is important for the refugees at the camps to be repatriated back into Somalia, and they're keen to do this. And the effort is back that Somalia has experienced relative peace, right, and the government that has been set up. And the question that raises then, is it Kenya to decide when we are going to, say, fine, by end of this day, you can need to go back home? What needs to happen? Who needs to make that decision?
Well, there is the hope is, of course, that the commission set up between Kenya, Somalia, and the United Nations High Commissioner of Refugees will deal with exactly this. We will take into account, of course, the security situation and the possibility of return. But then, of course, all international law for refugees is based on the premise that the return is voluntary. So there is this very strong relationship between progress on the ground, both in terms of security and in terms of possibility of living a normal life, and the return of refugees. But of course, every such situation is a burden. We know that. But you should also know that the pressures all over the world right now on the refugee area, also in terms of funding, are enormous. Syria, we have over 2 million people outside the country, 1 million children. An horrific situation, and still the United Nations funding is only half of what we need, less than half. So we are in a horribly difficult situation for refugees all over the world, and I'm sorry that Kenya has seen this for so long, and I'm impressed by Kenya's hospitality. I was in Somalia in the early 90s, and already then the flow of refugees was going your direction, especially from the Jubaland and Kismayo area. And I commended my Kenyan friends and colleagues then, and I commend them today, and the Kenyan people taking this burden. And it's just an example of the horrific consequences of the kind of warfare and the kind of conflict that we have seen in Somalia and in Syria.